In this video, we are going to talk about a special kind of fragment, the dependent clause. It is opposite from a sentence or an independent clause because it cannot stand on its own. Remember, it is a type of fragment. Fragments are not sentences. So dependent clause, again, it's a type of fragment. And here's the key. Why is it different from, or how is it different, or what sort of fragment is it? Well, it's one that consists of a subject and a verb. Ooh, this sounds good, but cannot stand on its own. And maybe you're thinking, okay, fair enough. Now show us the examples. But some of you may say, hey, wait a second, this is blowing my mind. You just told me that a subject and a verb is all I need and I have a sentence. And now you're coming along and telling me that that's not a sentence because it's a dependent clause, which is a type of fragment? No, you've totally rocked my world. Please don't do that. Well, watch this. Imagine that I just had, she wanted a bike. Everyone can agree, at least after you watch the preceding videos, that this is a sentence. We have a wonderful subject, here's a verb, and we even have a nice direct object, a bike, because that's what she wanted. But wait, what is happening here? We have the word because. You added a word. How can adding a word unsentence something? Well, it can in the dependent clause. There are certain words, and this one is called a conjunction, a subordinating conjunction. That sounds evil, like the bad guy in the movie. But don't worry, do not be scared, because in the upcoming videos, very soon, you will learn all about conjunctions and dependent clauses and these scary conjunctions, subordinate conjunctions. So, the key though is, because she wanted a bike is not a sentence. That's why I'm going to put a big X through it. Even though it has a subject and a verb, because it adds this guy, it becomes dependent. It's saying, oh, I need something else. I'm depending. I really, really need something else. And what I need, ding, 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 I'm going to put a comma here. You should definitely go to the comma video and then on to the conjunction video to see why we're putting a comma here. But what we need after the comma is an independent clause. That's right, we need a sentence there. If we put another dependent clause, you just have two dependent people, like a baby. Babies are dependent, they need someone. If you have two babies, they're not going to take care of each other. They need a mama, and the mama is the independent clause. So, because she wanted a bike is not a sentence. It is a dependent clause. You need a comma, and then it needs to be followed by an independent clause for you to have a sentence. Let's check out some other ones. The man who lived next to me. The man lived next to me would be perfectly fine, but no, we've dropped this word in here. And it's called a referent pronoun. You do not need to know that. At least you, well, not in this video, but you can go on and learn about it in an upcoming video. But for now, the man who lived next to me is not a sentence. It is a dependent clause. To become a sentence, the man who lived next to me, we would need a new verb here. So this verb is actually part of this little clause here that stands off on its own, and we would need another verb. I don't know, what the man who lived next to me talks loudly. Whatever it may be, talks a lot. Now we have a verb that corresponds to the man, and so we have a sentence. But without that verb there, this is not a sentence. It is a dependent clause. Let's check out C. Same thing. You have this referent. It refers to the computer. The computer is not a who, like a man. That's why we call it that. Again, you will get a lot more on this in the upcoming video based on referent pronouns. But for now, just know that the computer that has the best connection is not a sentence. It is a dependent clause. And you would need another verb here to make it a sentence. So because of that word that, this is not a sentence. It is a dependent clause. And therefore, you can see why now there's a special video on this, because it's not just a random fragment, but dependent clauses are sentences that suddenly have an extra word added to them that make them non-sentences. And so you must understand dependent clauses, and to really get to learn more about them and get a feel for them, go on to the conjunction video, because there you will learn all about subordinating words here.